Hi guys, welcome to our webinar on RV financing tips and tricks. I'm Tim Richardson, and I'm glad you guys took time to join us today. You're going to see an interesting background in my back window here because I am down in Millersburg, Indiana, right where they have a big rockwood plant, and I just took a tour and met with the guys, learned all about rockwoods, geopros, mini lights, and interesting trailers. So that's why you see an interesting background. But while we're getting people ready and in here, go ahead and look for the chat area. There's a little speech box off to the right. Go into the chat area, click on that, and just let us know where what city you're in. Just say hello from whatever city. I want to welcome you as we get everybody in here and we'll get started. Got a couple of guests I'm looking forward to introducing you to that are experts in this RV financing world. And they'll answer all your questions today, and we're excited that you joined us. So thanks for joining with us. And yeah, go ahead and put your name in, what city. I guess your name's already in there. So Mark is coming in from Massachusetts. Welcome, Mark. And Diane up in Oregon. Nice. Karen in Washington, Woodinville. Hi, Karen. Thanks for joining us. Michael out in Kansas City. We got the guests that we have today are coming in from Ohio. RV Wholesalers is located in Ohio, and they have a location down in Texas, and but really delivering all over the nation, more than Ohio actually. But we have Troy from Ohio. Welcome, Troy. Diana, Bonita out in Colorado. Angie, we have Kathy from the Poconos up in PA. Angie from Wisconsin. Dallas, did you get engaged in the Poconos? Is that where you went for your?
No, I did that I did that in Bell Center, Ohio. So close though. You're close.
All right. I want to introduce you to Dallas Henry. Dallas Henry has been here. Yeah, let me make his picture bigger so we can all see what he looks like. Here we go. Hey, Dallas.
Hey, buddy.
Thanks for joining us. So Dallas, how long have you worked with RV Wholesalers now?
I've been here for about 10 years now.
Nice. So what's your role there?
I'm a finance. I'm a sales manager, jack of all trades, whatever they ask me to do, but mainly finance and sales is what I do.
Yeah, this guy is probably, I have no idea how many deals he's financed, but tens of thousands, I'm sure by now. So thanks for taking time. I know it's crazy with all the sales that are going on right now.
Sure.
But thanks for taking time out to explain some really good tips and tricks. And yeah, later on we have Dallas has something to share that really knocked me off my feet at some ways that you can save hundreds and hundreds of dollars. So, and Jen, thanks for joining in, Jen Castello.
Absolutely.
How many years have you worked as a RV specialist here?
It's actually a little over 2 now. Believe
Okay.
it or not,
Nice.
gone quick, that's for sure.
Yeah, been crazy this year. So,
Hey, when you're having a good time, then and the time passes pretty quickly.
yeah, it's nice having you on. Thanks for
having us.
giving us some pointers and some stories. Don't be afraid to share stories that you've seen come through even the last couple of days from dealers you've seen or people that have been ripped off for, like, we just want to protect these guys, whether they buy from us, Dallas, like you said. Well, actually, why don't you go ahead and say it? We know we can't. What?
Yeah, we can't sell to everybody. We realize that. I mean, the biggest thing is we'd like to, and we're going to make an effort at it. Jen and I can both agree to that, but we realize we can't. So we want to try to give some tips and tricks and kind of things to expect as you're going out looking to buy an RV. What to expect, what you need to look for, what you need to ask for, and what you need to do. So.
Yeah, let's. Why don't we go ahead and start in on one of the things we talked about? What's this big mistake that you really should avoid related to your home? Why don't you go ahead and talk about that? What that is? What's that?
So one big thing to know when you're financing a recreational vehicle, a lot of people will want to use certain alternative types of loans. What you want to look for really is a recreational vehicle loan, a rec loan. These are a type of luxury loan out there. Should be simple interest, should be, generally they're a little bit longer term. But big thing you don't want to do is you don't want to tie any type of collateral outside of the RV, to the deal. So again, that gets a little risky. People come in and you hear the term home equity loan a lot. All that be a lot of times they are very, very low interest and things like that. The problem that you run into there, and we're actually hearing a lot of these stories now with COVID and everything going on, is people have tied their houses to, RV loans and things like that. Now, again, like people ask me, well, I've been doing that for years. There's no issue. There's no problem. Well, again, we all assume tomorrow that we have, a job there, things or income is coming in the way it should. But we've got to, hope for the best, plan for the worst, really. And if you take a recreational vehicle loan out on a house, now something happens and all of a sudden you can't make that RV payment, you're not going to miss your mortgage if you can help it. You're not going to miss your car payment because that's how you do things, back and forth to work, take your kids to school. But some people in a worst case scenario, you may miss an RV payment or you may not be able to make the payment. And the problem that you have there is now instead of them coming and grabbing your RV, now they come and get your house. So again, I know it's risk, reward type scenario. But that's one advice I have always had is don't tie your recreational vehicle loan to your house. So.
Yeah, that's a good point. We have the area in the chat. So as you guys think of questions, put them in there. In fact, right now, if you could take a couple seconds while we're in between topics and go in there. You guys are obviously in the market to buy an RV at some point. And I'm really curious, what's that one burning question before you buy, that you need answered? Maybe it's not something we can answer right now, or have another webinar, but we also want to figure out what other webinars are needed for you folks to make sure talking about finance side of financing that interests you and that you really need to know, whether it's how much can I tow? All the different aspects. What is the question that's kind of keeping you back from jumping right now, or what's that one question? So go ahead and put that in when you get a chance. We're going to scroll through those and answer as many questions as we can today. And one thing, we'll be sending out a replay video of this. So as soon as we're done, about 2 hours later, you'll get an email and it'll have a link to this webinar. So if you miss a part or you can't write fast enough, don't worry about it. You can replay it. So that'll be coming your way too. So, and then we always put these out on YouTube. So we have a YouTube channel called, if you just search for RV Wholesalers, we'll put a link here for you in a second. But yeah, go to our YouTube channel, click on subscribe, and then you can get access to this webinar and some other ones on purchasing RVs and all the different tips that go along with that. So Gene was asking about third-party inspection. Is that recommended? And if you want to talk about that, guys.
Yeah, Jen, what would you say in that situation?
I mean, honestly, to me, the third-party inspection is more of a personal preference, in my opinion. The reason I do say this is because most of the factories are doing inspections there, but not only that, we ourselves do a thorough inspection of each unit that comes into our facility. We check each system, run the propane, water through them, thoroughly making sure everything works properly, everything's functionable before the customer comes and picks up, and or we deliver the unit out there to them. So again, I think it's more of a personal preference, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think what Jen's saying, 100%. Depends on the dealer you're buying from, really. I mean, and if you're buying from a good dealer, I think you should probably be okay. I mean, but another quick question I had down here, Kenny, I think, said that Should I get gap insurance and is $599 a good? What's that?
Oh, go ahead with that Kenny question.
Yeah. So should I get gap insurance and is $599 a good rate for 12 years? So $599 is a tier A rate. I mean, it's in that ballpark. I mean, it depends on where your credit score is at as to whether that's an excellent rate or what. But again, either way, it's going to be in the tier A category. So even if you got 850 credit, that's fairly decent rate. Especially for 12-year term loan. Gap insurance, I would say, really that depends on the equity you're putting in the deal. Jen knows this from being around cars and RVs both. It depends. Are you rolling over some negative equity? Are you putting any down money? Are you financing in your tax? Are you financing any extra items? But as a good rule, if you're doing 10% down or under, I typically highly recommend gap insurance because, number one, RVs are higher rates than you're going to find with cars. So you are going to calculate some more interest. So you're going to chip your principal away a little bit less. And number two, and the biggest, is the terms are generally a little bit longer. So you're not paying it down as fast as you would, say, a car or something like that because the terms are a little bit longer. So I would say gap insurance is a very good idea if you're buying an RV. And then in rare situations to where you have a lot of positive equity because you got a trade that you don't owe on, or you're putting a substantial amount of money down, you may not need gap insurance in that situation. So,
yeah, thanks for diving into that one. What's the Mark was talking? He had a couple ones, and we're going to get to this in a little bit. He says, I'm trying to get a few sources that will rate numerous RV manufacturers and brands. Any recommendations? Can you just talk a little bit? And I'm actually down here, guys. That's why I'm not in the office today. I'm actually down in Amish country, Millersburg, Indiana, and just watched them build a whole series of RVs that are in the Rockwood lineup, which are a fiberglass construction. And maybe just, Dallas, do you want to talk about how the owners pick the people that RV Wholesalers at least represents and kind of the process they go through and what kind of differentiates better and best as far as manufacturers and how he would dive into that question.
Yeah, so we look at, every year we kind of go back and look at a lot of different factors when it comes to what RVs we're going to be selling to our customers or offering to our customers. And one of the big things is quality. Again, we go back, let's be very honest with each other, guys. If you've been around RVs, Jen will attest to this. I can attest to this. If you've been around RVs, it's not a matter of, am I going to have an issue? It's just when, and hopefully it's small. You're dragging something like a house down the road on a set of axles that average a 6 on the Richter scale. You're eventually going to have issues, but can we narrow it down to something to where you have a little bit more quality than the next thing? And when I'm done kind of going over this, I'll let Jen tell you about a few brands that we have that she might recommend for you. But what I would say, and what we do every year, is we look at warranty claims. We look at how the manufacturer responds to warranty claims. What's the volume of those? What type of warranty claims are they having? Is it just the mechanical, electrical stuff that you see with every RV out there, or is it more structural? Because if it is, we kind of tend to steer away. There's certain brands we don't carry anymore because of too high of warranty claims or the way that a manufacturer responded to warranty claims. Really, what we do is this: we look at the customer. We put ourselves in the customer's shoes. We say, if I was buying an RV, what would I want to buy? And that's how we decide what we're going to carry, and we use that as an all-encompassing. A lot of different factors go into that decision, as some that I just went over. So all being said, Rockwood and a few others we've carried for many, many, many years. Jen will tell you, about a few that she may recommend that we sell. I'll kind of let her go at that. So,
again, it really depends on what you're looking at. Just because a unit doesn't have the fiberglass siding and it has aluminum doesn't mean it's a good trailer. You got to know your price point. You got to know what level of camping you're at. If this is something entry level, I you're not going to invest $30,000-$40,000 right off the rip. So again, I think it all depends on where we're at in the process of things. For the entry level units, Wildwood and Puma are very big popular brands that we've had carried for many years. Manufacturers have always been good to us and our customers over the years. And then if you want to move up on the scale a little bit, as Dallas said, Rockwood, without a doubt, always been a number one selling unit for us. And then Solaire, Heritage Glen, or a couple other guys that fall in that category there. And then, like I said, I mean, go up into the fifth wheels, and now we're up into a whole different ball game. Now we've got Sandpipers, Cardinals, some of the bigger game. Of course, Redwood to me top of the line, but that we have.
Yeah, that's good. Thanks, Jen.
And that, thanks, Tim.
Yeah, when I was in the Rockwood factory, I snuck out a little sample of the wall construction, but where they laminate aluminum framing that's welded, insulation, and then they have their strength board and then their fiberglass all compressed together and sealed together. It's pretty impressive when you see how light it is, but how strong it is. And that's just the difference between a fiberglass trailer RV compared to a metal and wood, or aluminum and wood, stick and tin they call it sometimes in the industry. But both have advantages, and but those are the two kind of different types of manufacturing that you can look at. Right, Dallas? Do you have anything else to add to that?
No, I wouldn't add too much to that. I think you guys hit on it. I'm going to just nail a couple questions we got over here to the side just real quick. Yeah. Robert asked, what is gap insurance? Gap insurance stands for guaranteed asset protection. What that means is it covers the difference between what you owe on a loan and what your insurance company would pay out in the event of a total loss. So if your insurance company comes out and says unit's totaled for whatever reason, water damage, tree fell on it, God forbid you got in an accident, something, and your insurance company says it's totaled, what's going to happen is they're going to tell you, hey, you owe, you're going to find out you owe $25,000 on it. They may only give you 20 because that's what NADA says or depreciated value says, and you're going to, if you don't have gap insurance, you're going to be covering that $5,000 difference. Now to drop down there, Kenny said 30% down, excellent credit. Doesn't my auto insurance cover payoff of the loan? That depends on your auto insurance. I mean, you want to ask them, don't be afraid to ask your insurance company, hey, what do you cover? How long do you cover it for? And what is that dollar amount that we're insuring this thing for? Like, if it gets totaled out, are you going to go off the insured value? You're going to go off the depreciated value. You're going to go off agreed value. These are all insurance terms, but don't be afraid to ask your insurance company those poignant questions. The reason that people go with gap insurance over maybe a total loss with their insurance is there's typically a conflict of interest when that happens, which means they don't really want to total the unit out if they know they're going to have to buy you a new one. So they factor that in to the dollars and cents decision making, the actuarial decisions that an insurance company makes. So that's why I tell people diversify the type of insurances you have by getting gap insurance maybe from somebody else, and then obviously carrying your regular insurance. So you don't have one person making all the decisions for you in that scenario. So that's kind of what I would say there. Let's see, go down here, see if there's any other questions. Kath says, I can't find anything I'm looking for in a particular model. Can a custom design and would be more expensive than buying already built? That's Jen's category. I'm going to let her hit that question here real quick. So.
I'll just be honest with you, Kathy. Good rule of thumb, if you can get about 80% of what you want in a unit, you're doing great. If you can check off, 7 out of the 10 boxes, 8 out of the 10 boxes, you're doing awesome. As far as custom design, the floor plans are the floor plans. You can't, switch the closet or turn the bathroom into a closet or things of that nature. You do have different options you can select as far as upgrades. You can pick different furniture for different units and things of that nature. So feel free to reach out to one of the associates here in the office and let us know what you're looking for, Kathy. We'd definitely be glad to take the time to narrow it down and see if we can pinpoint exactly what you need.
Yeah, and that's what's interesting too in this world. One particular dealership may carry a brand and a very particular floor plan that you like, and RV wholesalers may have the same exact floor plan, and it may be even manufactured in the same factory, just under a different name. So don't be afraid to focus more. I think you should focus more on the floor plan, right, than getting too caught up in the name of it. They kind of do it that way, I think, to make it harder to compare apples to apples, sadly, so that they can charge more or, different things. I don't know exactly their purpose, but I've noticed that quite a bit in different brands. And so real quick, there's a big finance secret that we mentioned, and I don't think people are aware of this, and I want you guys to share it. I just learned about this myself doing these webinars, and it works beyond just RVs. And why don't you guys go ahead and let us in on that secret, because I think this could save our folks here a lot of money and really help them as they're negotiating and working with people.
Yeah. Well, the biggest thing is again, a lot of people don't know this, and buying any type of major retail purchase, if you finance through a dealership, that dealership's getting paid. Okay. Now, whether you get a piece of that or not, that's maybe up to you, maybe up to the dealer you buy it from. But ultimately, the bare bones of it is that dealership is getting some type of, whether you want to call it dealer reserve, dealer kickback, whatever it is, they're getting a piece of that. Okay. So know that going into any negotiating situation, know that going into any type of major retail purchase buy, is the bank is giving them some sort of finder's fee, or kickback, again, whatever you want to call it, but they're getting money when you go to finance to them. Now, that is very important to know when you go in to buy anything, because if you think about it logically, and this is how we try to apply it, is if we're getting paid more on a deal, shouldn't the customer get something? Okay. Now, the whole reason we started doing this years ago had nothing to do with kickback. We found out that as a result of trying to just offer better customer service to everybody we talked to. Biggest thing was we were tired of people showing up with a letter of credit or a promissory note or a personal check or something we just couldn't accept. Our banks that allow us to carry all the units that we have sitting on our lot, they dictate what we're allowed to accept as far as form of payment to let a unit leave. If I accept something that's not on that list that they approve of, that unit is out of trust, and I can be in trouble for that, and any dealer can. So, and it's a little more stringent with RVs than it is with cars. Cars are a little bit easier. But so we start offering our financing. Well, when we did that, we started realizing, wow, these banks are going to pay us this amount of money to run a deal through them. Okay, let's do it. And the biggest thing we wanted to do was we were tired of people showing up again with that letter of credit or something they can't take, and having to see the look on the face of a kid that just picked out his bunks. It's from California, picking up in Ohio, and now trying to explain to that kid's parents and watch them to explain to their kid. I mean, that they can't take their RV home. I mean, I can't. I have family. Jen's got family. That's not a conversation we want to have with our children. We got hearts, and that's why we started offering this. So we just started giving the money back that the bank gives to us. So we offer a discount, and that's based upon the amount that we get from the bank on each particular line or floor plan or whatever that is. So that's kind of how it works. Jen, you got anything you want to add to that?
I think you pretty much hit the nail on the head there for sure.
Yep. So that's pretty much it.
So Dallas, I mean, it's more than just a few $100s a lot of times.
Oh yeah, we're talking thousands in most situations. I mean, again, it all depends on the bank you're going through, and what we kind of do is we just kind of take it all as an encompassing sum, and we average it out based upon the floor plan and kind of what we're doing. But it's typically thousands of dollars for sure. In most scenarios, yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, guys, make sure you take time to ask for that. And so we got a question. At one point, they were wondering. So you guys are selling these and delivering these to people's homes across the nation, but in a second, how do they take care of people when there's like issues? Because normally you would go to your local dealership, like with cars and stuff. But can you guys explain what you do to take care of that issue?
Yeah, I'll let Jen hit on that. She knows quite a bit about it.
So what we have here is called our Nationwide Service Network. This is a private network that we created ourselves here. Right now, we are at a little over 2,700 locations located throughout the United States and or Canada. So no matter where you live, camp, or travel, we're always going to have someone available to you. We don't ever expect anybody to have to bring their unit back to Ohio to get a repair done. We make the process very simple. We give you a phone number to call. It goes right to our warranty department. You tell them your issue, and they take care of everything from there. They will make the appointment for you. If it is still covered under the manufacturer factory warranty, we will actually pay for that out of pocket. So you're not having to come out of the cost on your own. And really, this is what we pride ourselves on. And I feel wholeheartedly this is what has kept us in business for so long is our service.
Absolutely.
If you want to touch
I mean, the only thing I would add to that would be the RVW bill pay. That's another kind of layer to what Jen was just talking about. Is we do everything she just said. I mean, you find a place to get the thing fixed. We help you out with that. We even go as far as if we need to set the appointment for you, do all that. Then we take it one layer further. Whatever the manufacturer approves, if they approve a warranty claim. Jen knows, she's seen them. We'll come out of pocket and we'll pay for that claim, whatever the manufacturer approves. So the customer's not coming out of pocket, $2,600 for a refrigerator replacement while they're, on a camping trip, 1,000 miles away from home. So, that it's just little things like that, that we try to do to just help the customer out. But everything she said, spot on, exactly. I just add that little layer to it. So.
Well, that's the thing. I took my family camping last weekend at Jellystone Park, and we just had a blast. They were celebrating Halloween, and I mean, the kids, were trick or treating and everything. But when I was thinking about it, it's like if my camper breaks down, it's gonna be this weekend while I'm here. Thankfully, it didn't. Right. But I wasn't gonna be near my local dealership, anyway. So it's like every time you're using it. It seems like you're somewhere anyways, whether you're in Florida or far away or, 3 hours away, but you're never 10 minutes from the local dealership that can run over and help you, it seems like. So I like what you guys have figured out. That's good. And I know people were wondering, like, how do you deal with that in other states and all that? Because how many states do you sell in even this year? How many have you sold in?
All 50, I think. Yeah, I think we're all 50 this year so far. I think
we've hit them all
this
year.
So, yeah, some to last. I didn't want this to be a big sales push, but people keep asking. So about RVW price matching, do you guys, what's going on? I was just talking to the factory guys, and I'm hearing that dealers are charging significantly more for certain units just because they can right now. And I thought it maybe was just, what are you guys seeing though? From you're hearing deals and matching pricing or whatever. Yeah, talk about what you guys are seeing and what you guys do to take care of folks.
Yeah, Jen sees a lot more that's probably than what I do. She deals directly with the customers, a lot every day. So I'll let her kind of elaborate on what she's hearing lately anyway.
We definitely will look at any deal that anybody has to bring us. We are more than willing to price match and or beat the price. Ultimately, at the end of the day, I'm going to go back to our service. We want all of our customers to make sure they have the best service in the RV industry, which again, I do feel we have. Therefore, I will price match as long as we are comparing apples to apples. So unit for unit, year for year, options for options. And I've yet to have a deal that I've taken, up to finance, the owners, whoever may be that needs to look at that and make that call. They've yet to tell me no on that. So we are definitely very competitive. Again, willing to beat anybody's price. Again, so you have our service.
Yeah. I think one of the biggest things we see, and Jen knows this because I don't really have to talk to her too much about it, but was when we look at a deal, there's a lot of deceptive pricing going on in the RV industry right now. Mark had said, a question there says, is there advantage to buying RVW versus, a local Camping World or something, or a dealer or whatever. I mean, that I won't demonize any dealership. I just won't do it. But, I will tell you, you do see a large swath of deceptive pricing practices going on right now. As well as a lot of things that Tim, you had hit on, to where dealers just raising their prices because they can. I mean, they're you want to call it price gouging, whatever you want to call it. I mean, the demand's there, so they're trying to get an extra dollar out of it, and that's something we refuse to do. I mean, the price increases we've taken on have been from the manufacturer. And there are some manufacturers that have hit us on some price increases. There's some more that we expect. For sure. I mean, there's no doubt about it. But at the end of the day, we just want everybody to know that there is a lot there as far as that we offer as far as pricing and all that. Kind of looks like Tim dropped off here. I know his battery pack was kind of running low there, so we'll kind of pick up from here and take on. And if Tim jumps back with us, then we're good. So we'll kind of hit some questions on here. Bob just popped in there and says, what financing do you recommend for purchasing from a private party? I recommend, and I know Jen will probably attest to this, is go talk to your local bank and see where they're at. I mean, you want to look at a lot of the bigger lenders too in the RV field. There's some that'll do what's called direct lending, which means you just going to the bank. There's some that only do indirect lending, that you have to go through the dealership. Typically, what we found is actually indirect lending or going through the dealership tends to be a little cheaper as far as rate than what you find. Like I use U.S. Bank, for instance. I mean, they do both. I know customers, walk in and they say, well, how did you get me that rate from U.S. Bank when my U.S. Bank rate was, 0.5% or 0.75% or a whole percent higher than that? Well, it's because there's a lot less. I mean, don't not get into the weeds on it too much, but there's a lot less work on their end, so they can sell the rate for cheaper. Is how it works, right? So, and then they get the dealer the kickback, and we just pass it on to the customer. So, ultimately, that's kind of how that works. So, to kind of jump in, look at some of the other things we got here. Let's ask some questions. Let's see here. Excellent credit score. How low will they go? 10% down. Really depends. I mean, it's. I don't want to say it's a loaded question because you can give a range there. I mean, rates we've seen anywhere between 489 to 799 for good scores, but that really depends on the term that you're going to. Depends on
the lender.
Yep, the lender. That's exactly right. It depends on down money, collateral. There's a lot of different factors there. One cool thing a lot of people don't know is, and I know this kind of threw Jen for a loop because she was in the cars before this. When I talked to her about this, it took me a couple years to actually figure it out. Top to bottom was you actually go longer term with RVs, and a lot of times you find better rates, which is kind of odd. I mean, it's not. Yeah, I mean, you come from the car world. That doesn't make any sense
at all.
No. So I was trying to explain to a gentleman the other day. If we actually bump the amount you're financing by a little bit, he was right at that kind of $49,000-$50,000 mark, and bump it right over 50,000, he was actually getting a 0.5% better rate. So that's something to look at when you go buy. It's all should be simple interest loans, fixed rates. Those are all good things that you want to kind of focus on there. Let's see if we got any other questions here. So let's see. Okay. All right. So it looks like just a lot of kind of questions on how to and what to look at when you go buy an RV and look at RV loans. Again, you really want to. Well, looks like Tim's back with us. Can you hear us, Tim? Yep, looks like we're still having some connection problems with him. So, but again, what you want to focus on, the biggest thing is know the dealership is getting a little bit of something. When you finance through the deal, you should be getting a better deal. Really, you want to focus on, is the dealer, being upfront and honest with you? I mean, that'll tell you a lot about a dealership. It really will. There are some good ones out there. I mean, we're not saying we're the only good one out there that tells the truth. I mean, there are some good ones. So, and as Jen and I said, we'd love to say you every one, but I don't think we can. So, that's one big thing to look at, is ask them those questions up front. Are you able to give me a little better deal if I finance with you? If the answer is not yes, or at least they have that conversation, if it's just shut you down, no, I don't, ask them about that dealer reserve. They may not be able to give you an overall dollar amount because they don't know what your credit score is. They don't know what bank you're going to have you approved with. They may not give you that. They may not do things the way we do it, but at least let them have that conversation with you. So that's one big thing, to just make sure you're looking at the dealership, and make sure they're being honest with you right out the gate. If they're not, turn and don't walk, run out the door, because if they're not being honest with you that early in the situation, in the sale process, I can almost assure you that they won't be moving down the road. So Bob says, do you sell only used RVs? Do you sell or can you connect me with a use for towing vehicle dealer? So we've had a few like that before. I know Jen's had some questions about that. As far as we sell both used and new. So just so you know, there's a lot of different dealers out there. So I'll kind of let Jen hit on that one a little bit, as far as, what you might have questions on that.
Like as Dallas said, we sell both new and used. Again, please feel free to call in here at 937-843-2704. That'll get you right there to one of my team members, and they'd be glad to answer any questions as far as help you out with determining what the vehicle you have can pull, or if you are looking to get another vehicle. We don't have a lot of used right now, as we don't have a lot of new. I mean, it's just the market and where it's at. Typically, we carry anywhere from, I'd say, about 30 to 50 used on an average on a normal year. Right now, we're down to a few. So again, Bob, please feel free to call in, and we'll gladly give you specs to what we do have and see if we have something that work out for you.
Yeah, absolutely. A couple other questions here. Kevin said, as a follow-up, do you see a lot of availability next fall? Well, so here's the thing. With the amount of orders that are happening right now, what we're expecting is the manufacturers to push out, we've already seen it on a lot of them, push out build times by quite a bit. Okay, so what most people are doing, or at least the people that have kind of sniffed this thing out, that are wanting to get a new camper for next spring, they're buying now. I mean, they really are. They're putting in their order now because, again, might they get it sooner? Sure, it's always a possibility. But when I want to plan vacations for next spring or summer or something like that, I don't really want it to be a might. I want it to be a pretty positive, I'm going to have it, okay? So with build times being as erratic and crazy as they are right now, with an industry that's just overnight grown by 200%, you want to make sure that you're getting your order in. So what I would tell you is availability next fall or spring or whatever, it's going to be in the unknown right now. So, I mean, the only thing would you add anything to that, Jen? I
would say the only thing I might add to that would be just for you folks that don't know, manufacturers do price increases. There are certain times of the year. If you're waiting that far out, expect the prices of the units to be a little higher, because you'll be hit with the increases at that point in time, versus putting your order in now, getting you locked into the great pricing that's available now, and taking advantage of that.
Jen, can you give Cindy that? She wanted that phone number again, whatever you told her.
It is 937-843-2074.
Yep. And then Kenneth said, will there be a replay? When you're done here, guys, you guys will get an email out that will have a link you can click on to this whole webinar, and you guys can go back and review it and all that stuff. So that'll be in there. And then another question there, as Gene had said, all your RVs come from Ohio. Mainly every RV that you're going to see was typically made somewhere near Elkhart, Middleburg, Goshen, Indiana area. Okay, that's probably, I would say 95, 98% of them are built there. All right. So we're very close to that. We're only a couple hours away from that. We're here in Ohio, but we're geographically located pretty close to that. So
hit that question from Gene there, prepayment penalties.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
Yeah, that is a very good question. So it depends on the bank, really. I mean, it depends on the bank. Some banks do, some banks don't. As far as prepayment penalties, generally they're pretty small, somewhere between a couple $100 to $75, somewhere around there. It just depends on the bank and when you pay it off. Some of it's 3 years, some of it's a year. Depends on that. So yeah, that just depends really on the bank that you're dealing with. So that's a good question to ask as you're going through the buying process. Is to ask them about that. So let's see here. Diane said, are you familiar with a wholesale Class A diesel pusher company similar to RVW? We are not right now. We are getting into some of the Class C diesels. I mean, we do have some Class C like Super Cs as well that are kind of some of the big toy haulers. So Jen can maybe tell you about a few brands we have on the Class C diesel side, but A is not right now. So
right now we do carry the Forester, the MBS, I do believe. However, please call us again and let's get some information on that. I do know that is one of the units that they are having shortages of the chassis right now. But again, that's a part of, getting your order put in and placed now. That way, next spring, when you're ready to go, it's going to be ready for you. But again, call us up and let us know what you're looking for, and let us help you narrow down that specific unit, and we'll gladly help you out.
Yeah, and Scott had some question on there about, he called it ruined credit. I wouldn't call it that. I would say, inclement credit, something like that. But, are there financing options available for people maybe lower credit scores? For sure. I mean, we deal with banks right now, that have, they're flexible on that. They look at more higher risk loans, things like that. So absolutely, Scott. If you give us a call, we can kind of talk to you about that. Give Jen a call or one of our sales reps, whichever, and we can definitely talk to you about some of the banks. Jen comes up to me all the time, and a lot of the other sales reps do, and say, if you what in this situation, what would you do? And I always give her the recommendation on that particular, any situation she comes up to. Biggest thing I always say is do a credit application with us. We'll take a look at it. We'll be honest with you. I mean, one thing we try not to do is send you out to a ton of different banks. That's one bad habit that a dealer can have or go through, is they can send you to a ton of different banks, and that's not something we want to do. So we're going to analyze the credit first. Try to make sure that we're getting into, where we can give you an honest idea of where your rates and payments are going to be. If a dealer can't, they might not have been doing it for long, or they might not be looking at your credit. I don't know. Peg had a question down here a little farther, said, best way to compare RV trailers under 26 foot, for two retirees. I would tell you honestly, and I hate to keep beating our horn here, but jump on our website. I mean, we have a lot of different brands. Even if we don't have something that you're looking for, there might be something very similar on there. As Tim was saying a little earlier in the conversation, is they don't build campers a whole lot different. There's really only two ways they build campers. I mean, and when it comes down to the brass tacks of things, one, stick and tin, Tim called it, which is your aluminum corrugated outside. So the ones that aren't smooth, and has a wood frame. Okay. Then you can have aluminum frame with fiberglass exterior. That's typically, like your Rockwoods or something like that. Your Wildwoods are more your corrugated, side of things. So again, that really boils down to what you're looking for. We can find you, if you're looking at a floor plan, we've got about everything out there, or an equivalent to it. So yeah, just give us a call. We can definitely take a look at there. So, Mark down here a little farther said, I have heard that dealers are less interested in me as a buyer if I do not want to finance. Is this true? It can be. I mean, dealers make money on you when you finance. So if you're not financing with them, I mean, could they be less interested? Sure. Would they be silly to be less interested? Absolutely. I mean, they're still, making money, I'm sure. I mean, otherwise they would be selling you a product. So, yeah, I mean, I'm sure there are dealers out there that can definitely feel that way, but that would be one of those, what we call red flags, that you would want to move away. And again, what we try to stress to people is we want you to save money. So we harp the financing. We explain there is this money here. You don't have to take it. You can take it. Most people do. A vast majority, 90% of people do. So again, if you don't, that's fine. We're still going to treat you like the guy that's financing it, because we want you to be taken care of just as well. That's ultimately it's it. So, I mean, would you add anything to that, Jen?
Not really. I think you hit it pretty well. I'd say give us a call. Let us explain to you some different avenues and routes that we could take to allow you to be able to get that discount and only finance for a short amount of time. That way you're still getting the great discount, but you're only paying a small amount of money on the interest side of things. So give us a call. We'll definitely go into more detail about that, because again, at the end of the day, we want you to get the best price possible.
Absolutely. So Janice had jumped in there and says, I put money on a trailer, put money down. I think she meant to put money down on a trailer yesterday. I'm waiting on financing, so haven't signed papers. They said they gave me a deal, but last night I found their ad, and it was $3,000 less than my great deal. Should I walk or call them out? Make sure you're looking at the same camper. Make sure you're looking at apples for apples, options for options. Make sure it's there, okay? If they're advertising a deal on the same camper that's $3,000 less, and you're financing through them, I would certainly call them out. I would absolutely go in there and say, listen, you're advertised it for this. This is the price that I want. If not, then I'll walk away. Okay. And again, that's just an integrity thing. I mean, if your advertising price is not what you're giving me or less, then again, based upon what you're doing, it sounds like you're financing with them. Yeah, you definitely want to walk away from that scenario. I mean, we've had dealers do all kinds of, we've heard of it anyway from our customers, all kinds of crazy, silly things. I mean, I don't know if you heard this the other day, but there's a dealer up north, and I won't mention their name, that really literally wouldn't give you an out the door price until you did a deposit. I mean, as crazy as that sounds, it's true. I mean, there's dealers doing all kinds of silly things out there. So, yeah, definitely, make sure you're getting the best deal. Bring that up. If you're financing with them, they're making money. There's no reason that they shouldn't, be giving you that deal. Now, again, if they said, hey, there was a finance discount and you decide you weren't financing, well, that makes sense. I get that. They're not getting that money back, and they couldn't do that. So Janice had said, well, I lose my down or deposit. That depends on what you did, okay? Deposits, if they're true deposits and it's truly holding the camper, should be non-refundable. I mean, if they're truly holding the camper for you. If they're not, then it's probably not. I mean, that's really what it boils down to. People say, well, I signed a non-refundable deposit for this camper. Well, I can almost promise you that dealer didn't hold that camper for you, if so. Okay. Now, again, if you go through them, if you signed off on a payment authority form or something authorizing them, credit card receipt, to run your card or authorizing that you gave permission for that purchase, then yes, if you walked away from, you're probably in a situation where you might not get your deposit back. I would still dispute that with your credit card company, or if you did it as a credit card down payment or deposit. If you didn't sign anything, you probably will get that back. I mean, again, we do things the right way. We make sure people understand on all of our documentation that our deposits are non-refundable, and that is not a secret. And again, if a deposit was non-refundable, there wouldn't be any purpose of holding a deposit. I would just tell every customer to come out here and put a Post-it note with their name on every camper, and we just go with that. So, but yeah, I mean, will you lose your deposit? That depends on what you did. I mean, I would look into it. If you have any questions, my email, it's dhenry@rvwholesalers.com. If you have any more in-depth, Janice, you want to email me, I don't have any problem trying to respond to you there. Been a little crazy lately, so just give me a little time once you email me. But if you have any questions, just let me know. So let's see here. Do you guys have a type of military discount? So there are certain things we can do depending on the line, I will say, depending on the line, because there's certain pricing that we have. that we call our no haggle pricing, which again, we don't really have haggle pricing, which is kind of wrong, but that we don't do any additional discounts on. Okay, so depends on the line. We may have a little bit extra money we can do in certain situations. $100 here, $100 there, something like that. But in most situations, you're going to contact us and you're going to get our best price out the door. That's just how we do business. Jen knows we don't. She doesn't have time. I don't have time, to mess around with stuff like that. We just want to make sure we're getting you the best deal. So, let's run down through here. I don't see any other questions. If you guys have any other questions, jump in, ask them real quick. We're kind of getting up to the end of our time here. And just to kind of reiterate, guys, and go back through what we were talking about, financing tips, tricks, things like that. Number one, don't tie your house to your camper. Don't do that. The dealer is getting a dealer check when you finance with them in almost every situation. Again, rare scenarios where they're not. That's more of your inclement credit side of things. And make sure you're forcing the honesty out of whatever dealer you're buying from. Okay, ask them the questions. We're equipping you with the knowledge. Okay, we want you to understand what you're getting, what you're getting into. So we're equipping you with the knowledge so you guys can be taken care of while you're out there. Whether you can buy from us or you got to buy from somebody else, make sure your dealer's being honest with you because we want you guys to be taken care of. And a good, healthy, happy customer, honestly, is a good, healthy, happy industry. Jen knows this. I know this. It's something we stress. I mean, other than that, would you add anything? Can you hear us, Tim?
Hey, finally.
He's back.
All right. I told you I was in Amish country.
Fair enough.
No Wi-Fi out there.
Oh, my word. Well, thanks for covering all that, whatever it was you said. I'm sure it was good.
Yep. We had some good stuff.
Hey, did you tell them about the virtual RV show coming up?
I didn't. You go ahead and go into that and let them know.
Yeah, so we have, if you go to virtualrvshow.com, we have an event coming up. It's an 8-hour, 9-hour day. We have a lot of fun. We have everything from 30 walkthroughs of RVs to lots more tips and tricks, even going into more detail on different things. And we just have a good time. We have our own band, Trailer Swift. We have a magician. It's going to be all Halloween themed. So come join us. There's a lot of giveaways. That's why I want you guys to join us. We have a lot of things to give away. In fact, as a thank you for sticking with us to the very end, I was going to give away a $500 credit that you guys can use towards your delivery if you purchase or make a deposit in the next day. So if the first 3 people that email me at trichardson@rvwholesalers.com. In fact, I'm going to so trichardson@rvwholesalers.com. I'll put that in the chat. The first 3 people that email me with the subject 500 in the subject, what I'll do is make sure Jen connects with you and get you a $500 credit that you can use towards a delivery. So
now, is that coming out of your pocket, Tim, or is that coming out of Jen's?
No, that's mine.
Good answer.
Yeah. So, appreciate you guys sticking with us to the end, and happy camping soon. So glad we can help you out a little bit. So, and thanks, Dallas and Jen, for taking time. I'm going to put up a slide with Jen's contact information too, which you guys probably already gave, but just so that everybody can reach out to you, Jen.
Thank you.
And it's just about here.
Yeah, guys, one thing I'll tell you, Jen's one of our most experienced sales reps. Reach out to her. She's extremely knowledgeable. If she doesn't have the information readily available, she will find it for you. She's one of the best sales reps we got. So give her a shot. If you're looking at an RV, she'll definitely help you out. So,
thanks.
And it's Jay Castello at rvwholesalers.com, right?
That's correct.
Extension 1000.
Or what's your just 154.
154 for Jen.
Yep.
Okay, I'm putting this in the chat. And then let's put up the main number again. Did you guys tell them it's 877-877? Help me out here.
4494.
94. Okay, here it's in the chat now. Does that look right, guys, in the chat?
Yep.
Okay. So that's Jen's email and her extension. And here's the 800 number where you can reach her. And then mine for the 500 is just T. Richardson at rvwholesalers.com. So, all right. Well, thank you guys. And we appreciate all your time. Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks.